Hello everyone, this is International Master Alex Ostrovskiy for ChessLessons.com, bringing you the daily tactics snack. And today on the board we have our first position, which is going to be our warm-up and also showcase the theme of the day. I'm going to be honest, the positions today are a little bit tougher than usual, but nevertheless they are still entertaining, constructive, and I think we're still going to solve all of them. So without further ado, please pause your videos. It's white to move and win. Alright, before we get to the solution, a hint is in order, and I would like you to pay attention to the material on the board. We see black is up a piece for several pawns. I'd like to bring your attention to some of the more advanced pawns in white's arsenal, the pawns on f6 and b6, and these far advanced pawns are going to be key in executing a winning combination for white. So at this point I invite you to pause the video again and get the correct answer. Alright. Well, the correct answer here starts with the move queen g3 check, a forcing move requiring black to either run with the king or block with the queen. So we're going to examine all three of these moves. Now first we can examine king h8, after which the key idea for white will be to play rook takes e8 check. This forces bishop e8 since queen e8 leads to checkmate in 1. So bishop e8, and now comes the real thunderbolt, queen g7, forcing the queen off the board. And after the forced queen takes, pawn takes, king takes, b7, we see that deflecting the bishop from c6 has led simply an open passageway for the b pawn. And this is actually going to be the key idea, the promotion of the b pawn. So we look at the king h8, we can also look at the move queen g6. And after this move queen g6, white will simply play rook takes e8 check, again luring this bishop to e8. And after queen takes g6, no matter what black takes with, let's say the pawn, b7 will once again prove it unstoppable. So that only leaves us with the move king f8, and king f8 here will be met with the familiar queen g7 check, a familiar idea, and after the forced response queen takes g7, we take on g7, and now the king cannot take this pawn. Well, it actually has to pretty much take on g7, and after rook e8, again black cannot capture because of b7 and promotion. So actually, the theme for today is going to be exactly that, combinations involving promotion. So this has been our warm-up, and now we're going to move on to the second level problem. So here we have the second position of the day, with the theme being combinations involving promotion. And now, equipped with this knowledge and the warm-up puzzle, pause your videos and show me the right answer. Alright, as far as hints go, this one is pretty much on the nose. We know the combination is involving passed pawns, and white has this pretty strong pawn on g6 that is securely blockaded for now by the black king. So if there's any way to remove the blockade and ensure this pawn's passageway to g8, that should be our primary goal. So for the second time, pause the video. Alright. Just like the previous problem, the first move is with the queen, but the first move is definitely much more striking than the warm-up. The best move here is the move queen h8, a deflection and a queen sacrifice, a pretty interesting queen sacrifice. The queen just goes right next to the black king, no defense, gotta take it, free queen, what could be better? But this ensures the removal of the blockade on the g7 square, and after g7 check, the black king blockades the pawn yet again, and now white offers more material, all for the sake of promoting this pawn, and it turns out that it's simply forced mate. After king h7, g8 queen is checkmate, and declining the gift with king f7 doesn't really help much either, since the promotion to a queen also mates black. So nice puzzle here, move queen h8, simply diverting the king, unblockading this pawn, and now very easy to push it through, granted that you just simply sacrifice more material, and in the end, even the queen comes back to life and checkmates the black king. So this was the second position. Now it's time for position number 3. So here we are, our third and final position of the day, involving combinations, involving promotions. And this position, again, it is white to move, and we need to find a way to apply this theme to this position. So please pause your videos and do your best. Alright, it's time for the halfway point hint. And the hint for this position is think about the previous position. In that position, when we had our passed pawn, we stopped at nothing to ensure its passage. We sacrificed a queen, a bishop, and the lesson from that is if you're able to promote to a queen, then you shouldn't have a big problem sacrificing material to ensure that. So in this position, look for some sacrifices to launch this pawn towards the queening square. Pause your videos yet again. Alright, the solution for this video is, for this position rather, is the very shocking move rook c6. What's that about? Well, first of all, this is a immediate threat attacking the rook on c5 and bishop on c4, but more than that, it's simply the blunder of a rook. Well, let's see what happens if pawn takes c6. Now, black is up a whole rook, but after b6, it turns out that black's pieces are his own enemies, since this rook on c5, so poorly positioned, the bishop on c4 and the pawn on c6 make sure that this rook cannot go anywhere. It's also not in time to reach either the b file because of these c file blockades, and also this pawn on f5 is blockading its path to f8, but actually also this knight is controlling d5 and f5, white's pawn is controlling e5, lots of arrows on the board, but all they show is that black's rook has nowhere to go. And in this position, it's simply unstoppable. The moves b7, b8 will lead to a queen, and there's not much black can do about it. So removing some color from the board to get a better view, once again, this pawn on b6 simply running to b8, and black's pieces are way too clumsy to do anything about it. So beautiful promotion tactic here. The only question is, can black do something else against this powerful move rook c6? Well, his only other real option is, this rook's hanging, gotta defend it somehow. So one option is to play rook takes c6, an exchange of rooks, but after pawn takes c6, we have the threat of taking on b7 and promoting. So black's pretty much forced to play the move pawn takes c6, and knight c4 leads to an endgame where white is up a knight for nothing. Well, for one pawn, but it is nevertheless winning. Once again, this move rook c6 made it all possible, forcing the win of a rook, of a bishop rather. And if black gets too greedy, tries to b up a rook, well, after b6, an endgame tactic involving promotion. So these have been our 3 positions for the day, the daily tactic snacks involving the theme of promotion. Hope you enjoyed these. As I mentioned, I thought these positions were harder than the previous ones, but nevertheless, very enjoyable and instructive. This has been International Master Alex Ostrovskiy, and this has been your Daily Tactic Snack.